welcome to the Sip and Stitch podcast. My name is Brittany, and I am coming to you from Houston, Texas. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is a podcast about knitting and fibery goodness from my perspective, and I am still a relatively new knitter. Only been knitting for about a year and a half, so you kind of get to see some of my mistakes and my learning experiences and my just overall impressions about knitting. But if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm very glad that you decided to come in and spend some more time with me. Again, I say it every episode, but I really seriously mean it. Definitely appreciate everybody that comes in and watches and, likes to check in and see what I'm up to. There are so many podcasts out there these days, so I'm really happy that you choose to come in and spend some time with me. So, jumping right into it, I've got a lot to cover today. I've got some works in progress, finished object. Gotta get you updated on the knitting games, what's going on there, because we've got something new. Want to recap my experiences at the Dallas-Fort Worth Fiber Festival that I went to 2 weekends ago. Got some mail and just general chat, a new section I'm calling Life Outside of Knitting, and also a little bit just about my overall fiber stash. So, let's go ahead and get right into it. Works in progress. Well, this is kind of going to interject too, because you're going to see a little bit of what I got at one item that I got at DFW. So let me reach over here. All right. In my totally awesome garden party bag from Gabby with Once Upon a Corgi, or it's Upon a Corgi is her Etsy shop, I have got my Because I Love You wrap. Now, when I went to DFW, I had a shopping list, and one of the things was I wanted to cast this on, so I wanted to get the yarn specific for it. So that was like one of my missions, and this yarn I saw it, it jumped at me, and it's totally my color palette, so I definitely am up on that. So I cast this on Monday or Tuesday, somewhere in there. I'm getting this far. Seeing how wide I can get that. Now, I'm not going to say I'm sure you're familiar with the pattern, but if you're familiar with the pattern, it's a really beautiful pattern by Amy Meeks, who's Inked Indigo, I believe, on Ravelry and Instagram. I'm not positive, but she's one half of the Periscoping Sisters, so if you're familiar with that podcast, Amy Meeks. Anyway, it starts off with like the tip, and you do sections of stockinette interspersed with sections of garter, and the stockinette sections get smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to this neat bridge, and then it switches to where the garter sections are your solid color, and the garters are your variegated, and the stockinettes will change to your solid. So I'm almost to the bridge, so I've gotten pretty good progress on this. Let me tell you about this yarn though. I got this again at the DFW Yarn Fest, and I'll interject a picture hopefully here of it still in its beautiful skein form, because I couldn't wait, and I just went ahead and wound this up and couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to record and then cast it on. Like, I just needed to cast it on immediately. So here's the up close and personal view of the yarn. This is my solid, and this is my really pretty variegated. And this is so my color palette. Like, I love teals and blue greens and stuff like that. This particular yarn is by Western Sky Knits. You can see the tag there. They were a vendor at DFW. It's a local dyer based out of the Woodlands, Texas, which is like an hour north of me. It's the north side of Houston. The two particular colors, the solid is their colorway Happy, H-A-P-I, and the variegated is Nightfall. This is a 80-10-10 blend of superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. As this knits up, I'm having so much fun petting this shawl. Like, I'm gonna love wearing this because it's so soft. Like, that 10% of cashmere really brings some great softness to this project that I am in love with. So I'm super happy with how this is working out. And I'm knitting these on, excuse me guys, a little sneezy. I'm knitting these on my Knit Picks interchangeable Caspians. I believe I cut these on size 5s. So, that is project number 1, and I am loving it. Loving it. Great pattern, super easy. Yeah, there's really no complications to this pattern at all. I would I would say it's perfect for a beginner shawl knitter. I especially like that it starts with like 6 stitches and then just keeps increasing from there. And then it's going to be beautiful. There's been tons, if you look at the project page for this particular pattern, there are tons of different ones that have been produced, and it's just, I'm very excited. I'm loving it so far. My other works in progress, I'm keeping this in the whip pile for now because it's going to be an eternal whip. But it's my sock yarn blanket, and I've added a couple balls to that, and I actually have one in progress right now, so sorry, you're gonna have to see. Oh, Holly's excited, she sees the yarn ball. But I added about another row. I finally got through all of my mini skeins from the Bohemia Fibers swap mini swap I did, and now I'm on to minis that people have sent me. So I think these 2 were my last one from Bohemia Fibers. This was actually my colorway, and then the next 5 completed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the one I've got in progress came from other people, so. And I am really bad about, sorry, let me rescue that ball from Holly. She loves these little mini yarn balls, let me tell you. Holly, give that to me. Oh, ma'am. Sorry about that. I am really bad about keeping organized about who the minis came from, and I mean, that's a terrible fault of mine. I know who sent me minis, but I don't know which ones belong to which people or what fiber is each, because I get these little mini skeins and I immediately like wind them up into little balls. Like I have a little box on one of my side tables that is full of little mini yarn balls now, and I basically like okay, I'm gonna knit a square and I pick one out. So I'm never really gonna know where they came from, and I know that's awful. I mean, obviously I'll know which ones came out of projects I did, but to me it's just a big hug, and I know it's from various people. So and this, for right now, while it's still in its smaller state, is living in this project bag that I made. So that's it for works in progress, because I was very, very monogamous the last, well, I finished it Sunday night. So I worked on it for about a week, monogamously. My striped shawl, study shawl, and I finished it. This is a pattern by Vera Valimaki, and it's an asymmetrical shawl that you can see has various colors. And unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get the entire thing in the frame because it's huge, but I bought this yarn at DFW again, very much on the encouragement of Amber from Yarn Junkie. She totally enabled me on this one. And it is from Fiber Optic Yarns. The neutral color is their All Natural, and the gradients is, they do these paint box gradient sets, and this particular one is Raspberry Truffle, and I just fell in love with it. It's totally outside of my normal color selection, so that made me extra happy because I was getting outside my box, and I love it. This is a really easy knit. It's garter stitch. You use short rows for the shaping. It's super easy. It just flowed through. I flew through it, and I'm very, very, very happy with how it turned out. I did the final border a lot smaller. It's supposed to be 4 inches, but I didn't really feel the need to have 4 inches of the cream on the border, so I just cast off after about 1 inch. But I'm totally in love with it, very happy, and I'll put links to, you can buy fiber optic yarns online. I don't really understand like if they're local to Texas or not, but I know you can buy them online, because at one point I thought I was going to have to buy another set. So when I first cast this on, each stripe I was doing 1 mini, and it was a set of 12 minis. And that didn't work out so well. Like, you know, it would be like 1, and then the next color, and the next color, and the next color. And by the time I got to the 5th stripe, I ran out of the mini. And there was supposed to be 12 stripes, so I was like, this is gonna be a problem. So I actually frogged the entire thing and started over again. And I had posted on Instagram, I was like, okay, knitters, I got a knitting problem, and explain what was going on. And basically, on the advice of several people, including Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes, she had made this pattern with the same gradient set a couple of months back. And I said basically, use the entire mini and don't worry about color changes in the middle of the stripe. So you can see, especially when you get to the bigger stripes, get you up close, you can see where I've got like 2 or 3 different colors in the stripes. And I think it looks great. So if you decide to do this, just keep in mind that you will probably have multiple colors in your stripes. And hopefully I will get around to updating my Ravelry project page, so future people, when they are doing this project with the same gradient set, they can reference that, because I had a little bit of a hard time finding what other people had done on that. So that is that. So that was my works in progress, my finished objects. Let's go ahead and talk about the knitting games while we're here. So yeah, knitting games. I'm gonna pause because at this point I will be interjecting our logo. Okay, once again, thank you, Maureen from Victorian Studio, for doing that awesome knitting games logo for us. So, got a couple of things going on with the knitting games right now. The podcaster challenge for April is almost over, and I have been very bad about not talking about it in the Ravelry group. What we did is there, I believe, was 7 of us, 7 different podcasters, including myself and Melissa, the Spicy Homemaker, each dyed up 4 mini skeins. And they were supposed to be mini skeins inspired by various characters in the Hunger Games, because it's the knitting games, right? And we've got a voting thread up in the Skeins in School podcast and the Sweet Leaps podcast groups on Ravelry. And whoever gets the most votes, we've got first and second place, gets a prize pack to give away to their viewers. So those threads have been up since, I believe, Saturday of last week. I forgot to post a thread in my Ravelry group saying go vote. So yeah. So if you haven't done it yet, and hopefully you're watching this episode early enough, the voting thread is going to close at noon tomorrow, Saturday, April 16th. So go vote if it's still open, please. Melissa messaged me yesterday at some point. She was like, can you please post something in your group because we have a tie, and we really don't want a tie. So make sure you vote if it's still open right now while you're watching this. Pause me right now and go vote. There are some beautiful dyed yarns in there. I was really proud of the work I did. I think mine are great, but there's some that I think are better. So definitely go vote. The winning podcaster will get, winning first and second place will get a prize pack, and it's a really cool prize pack with like a project bag, all the minis, stitch markers, patterns, all kinds of stuff. First and second place will each get one to give out to their viewers, and all the participating podcasters are getting a skein of yarn to give to their viewers. So go vote and go check out the various podcasters that are participating in this. I'm trying to think who all we had. Actually, give me a second and I'll pull it up. Okay, we've got Deanna from Skeins in School. She's Classical Girl on Ravelry. Vicky from Sweet Leaps. She's Devixta on Ravelry. I always say it wrong. Maureen from Victorian Studio. Carolyn from Pinkwin Coffee Clutch. Lisa from Pretend It's a Plan. And Tanya from Knittentions are the ones participating, I believe. We might have had one back out at the last minute. But anyway, go check out those various podcasts. I'll link them all in the show notes. And go vote. That's one of the things that we're having so much fun about the knitting games, because it's definitely, we wanted to make it a community effort. So make sure that you are checking out all these various podcasters that are participating. There was one other thing that I wanted to pull up on Ravelry while I've got you. Okay. Back to my show notes. So that's the April Podcaster Challenge. The May Podcaster Challenge, and I seriously hope that you can't hear the lawnmower man in the background. I really apologize if you can. They're usually done in the morning. I don't know why they're still mowing, but whatever. The May Podcaster Challenge will open, I believe, the first week of May, and we've got quite a few podcasters participating in that one as well. I'm not sure if you remember, right around like Christmas time, there were these little wooden llamas and alpacas and sheep that were like dancing across Instagram, and people were knitting little sweaters for them. So for the May challenge, each podcaster has one of these little wooden animals and is going to decorate it however they want. Just some component of decorating has to be fiber related or knitted or whatever. There's several different podcasters participating in that one. I can't name them all off the top of my head right now, and I don't think I have the message in my inbox, but that will open for voting early May, and those voting threads will be in mine and Melissa's group, just to kind of keep it easy. for us. And again, whichever podcaster gets the most votes gets the prize pack to give to their viewers. So that one's coming up too. Melissa asked a Powerball question in her last episode, and I was watching it and I thought it was a hard question, and I was like, there's no way anybody's gonna get that in 2 hours. It was answered in like 30 minutes. So the April Powerball is over, which is just a shame because I had a question ready to go for y'all this week. But I will be asking you it in May then. Just a hint. So Powerball for April is already closed. Viewer challenge. Melissa started a viewer challenge in her group last week. She picked out 3 different patterns, and it's basically did a finished object thread for each pattern. And at the end of, I believe they're running just through the end of the Hunger Games, or the end of the knitting games. They're gonna draw in the finished objects for a winner. And I like that idea so much that I'm stealing it. So that's gonna be my viewer challenge, and this is gonna run through the end of the knitting game. So it's gonna run through May 31st. I've been really shawl crazy lately, and I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of really awesome shawl patterns out there now. Well, I mean, there's always been a lot of awesome shawl patterns, but it seems like a lot of really cool new ones are coming out, or I'm just now hearing about them. I don't know. But I want to knit all the shawls. Like, every single one. I want to knit them all. So, in that spirit, my viewer challenge is I've picked out 3 different shawl patterns that I want to knit, or that I am currently knitting, and I'm going to challenge that to y'all as well. And just like how Melissa's is, I have a finished objects thread. Finished objects only, no chatter. All the chatter can go on the knitting games chatter thread. That's just going to make it so much easier, and I actually draw for prizes out of there in case you didn't watch last episode. So, finished objects thread for each pattern, and at the end I will draw a winner from each FO thread. So, that's that. The 3 ones I've chosen, the Because I Love You wrap by Amy Meeks, the one I showed you earlier, the 3-color cashmere shawl by Joji Locatelli. And another note on that one, the Grocery Girls are having a knit along for that one, for that particular pattern that ends, I believe, at the end of April. So double dip opportunity. If you're doing it with the Grocery Girls, post it in my FO thread too, and that's like double the chances to win. And the other one is the Equinox, and this is actually more of a cowl or a long scarf. And it's by Cassandra Rizzardi, who is also Riza Knits. She has, I believe it's like After Dark with Riza. I'm totally butchering your name, but I've been watching it lately, and she's so funny. It's beautiful, beautiful pattern, and definitely something that you can use with variegated yarn. There's a thought here. But so those are the 3 patterns, and I will open up the FO threads once I get this episode posted, so you can start going. And if you've got any questions for that, you can always ask in the chatter thread. I may not answer all the time, but I do stay on top and read everything anybody writes. So if I have to pop in real quick and answer something, I have no problem doing that. So ask in there, message me on Ravelry, anything, definitely. The other thing I wanted to pick up before I let go of y'all today was we are up to 220 entries in the FO thread for the knitting games. That's incredible. That's so exciting because we're about halfway through at this point. So there's been 220 different FO entries. We've definitely, like I said last time, we've got our regulars that are posting a lot of stuff. So there's some people that definitely have an advantage because their names are going to be entered that many more times for prizes. So if you have been hesitant to enter anything, make sure you do it, like, soon. And yeah, 220 entries, that's crazy. And, you know, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming for me to keep on top of them to assign the points and everything. So I may go, I've been popping in about like once or twice a week to total up points. I may just like wait until like there's something flying around here. Maybe just wait until like Sundays every week to do it. Because otherwise I'm like constant, like every time I check, there's like 17 new projects, 20 new projects. So don't freak out if yours hasn't gotten points assigned to it in a while. Like, I am getting around to it, I promise. And they definitely will be assigned by the end of the knitting games. So, that, I'm gonna leave the knitting game stuff there for now. Again, any questions, message me on Rav, ask questions in the chatter thread. Both Melissa and I do talk in each other's chatter threads. I'm so sorry about the lawnmower, it's really making me mad, but I live in an apartment, so I can't exactly go out there and tell them to stop. It's not even a lawnmower, it's like the leaf blower or whatever. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it with the knitting games there. So, moving on to the recap from the Dallas Fiber Festival. And actually, I'm going to take a quick break here because my battery's about to die, so I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. That took a little bit longer than I expected, so sorry. I'm a little disjointed now. My phone back on silent. So, where I left off, I wanted to talk to you about my experience at DFW Fiberfest. So, about 2 weeks ago, I made the decision, coming untied now. I made the decision to drive up from Houston for the day to attend the DFW Fiber Festival. Great decision on my part. And I'm not being facetious here. It's a heck of a long drive. It's like, I left from the north side of Houston, so it was 3 hours each way. Spent about 4 hours at the actual festival and then drove back. And I had a blast. It was awesome. I got to meet 2 people who I was really looking forward to. I met Amber, the yarn junkie, who is just as sweet in person as you would think. And I met Maureen from More Crafts, and she also has a podcast called Simply More Crafting, I believe is the name of the podcast. I don't know. I subscribe to it, so it pops up and tells me that she's recorded an episode, and I'll fix the link in the show notes so you can go check out her podcast. Anyway, it was super exciting. As I was driving up there, you know, we're chatting about, you know, excited to finally meet each other and where we're going to go and what we're going to buy. And I got there and immediately saw Amber and Maureen and just kind of clung to them and hung out with them for the next couple of hours. I thought I was approaching this the right way. I made a shopping list of specific things I was looking for. I wanted to get yarn to make the Because I Love You wrap. I wanted to get yarn to make the yoga shawl. And then I said just tons of sock yarn, and I wanted sock blockers and lace blocking wires. I got there and I was so overwhelmed. This was it was my second fiber festival, but my first fiber festival as like a real knitter. I say real knitter. I was a knitter before, but I'd only been knitting for a couple of weeks when I went to the first one. So I had definitely a lot more idea of what good yarn was, what I was looking for, but there was so many choices. It was so overwhelming. I had a really hard time deciding. So, you know, we walked around. The first booth we stop at is Mustache Yarns, because I figure if I am lucky enough to live in the same state and actually the same city as Stacy from Mustache, I need to take advantage of that fact when I go to a fiber festival that's local. And I was, you know, there's such a frenzy around her yarns. I was like, her booth was right inside the entrance. I was like, I have to stop and buy something now. Like, so my original plan was I was going to walk the floor, check out everything, and then go back and buy. But I was like, oh my god, it's Mustache. Mustache it disappears in like 2 seconds online, so I better buy it now before she's completely sold out. Of course, it was a fiber festival, so she wasn't completely sold out, but I did score. So, this is what I got from Mustache. And this is her perfect sock in the OCD. So, she's got 2 50-gram skeins wound up together. It's where they're going to make perfectly matching striped socks. Awesome. And the colorway is Tarts and Vickers, which, for me, that reminds me of a scene in the Bridget Jones's Diary movie. I hope that's where the reference is from, because the color kind of reminded me of Bridget Jones's Diary, but maybe. We'll see. And I also got a little mini skein of pink to do heels and toes to go with this. So this is what I got from Mustache. And then I followed my original plan and walked around, checked out everything. I mean, there was tons of local dyers. There was Brazen Stitchery. Undead Yarns was there too, I believe. Savvy Skeins. I can't even list them all. I went and, you know, tons of local dyers, went and checked out all of them, and then we got to the end and I was like, I need a break. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. So we took a little break, and then I went back and started buying. Now, the last booth that I had spied, like, we actually didn't end up stopping there, but because both of us were like, we need a break. This is me and Maureen at this point. We're like, we need a break. We need to go sit down. And I was like, but we're coming straight back to that booth. And that was the Western Sky Knits, where I showed you the 2 skeins that I'm making my Because I Love You shawl. Like, I saw those skeins as we were walking out. I was like, I'm going back and buying that. So went back and bought that, and then we caught back up with Amber, and she was like, hey, you remember that that striped shawl that Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes made a couple months ago? This is Fiber Optic Yarns. That's who she used. So she talked me and Maureen, I mean, she didn't really have to, like, pull our arm too much, into buying the paint box gradient sets that I made this with. So you didn't even get to see this in yarn form and whip form or anything. Like, this was the thing I wanted to cast on as soon as I got home. So I got that. Then Maureen had kept talking about, this is coming apart. Shawls are still a relatively new accessory to me, so I still don't know how to wear them right. Anyway, Maureen kept talking about she wanted to make a bonbon bunny, and I had been seeing them because Jilly from Knitting Broomstick makes them a lot, and yeah, so Maureen and I both were on the hunt then. She kind of not talked me into it, but she kept talking about it. I was like, you know what, I want to make one too. So I pulled up the pattern on Rav, figured out it was a worsted weight, and then we were on the hunt for the perfect variegated for that. So I got this from Gritty Knits. Focus, there you go. And it is a worsted. It is 100% superwash merino, and this is in their Great Flood Speckle colorway. And this is like Merinosaurus is the name that they use for this base. It's super cute. So this is going to be a bonbon bunny eventually. Then we went back to the Webs booth, and I picked up this gradient set. This is Wonderland Yarns, and the gradient set is Color Morph. I'm really not sure what I'm going to make with this at this point, but it's my colors. So I'm kind of on the fence. I was thinking about maybe doing this as a giveaway, but I might keep it. So we're going to see on this one. So that was actually all I bought, because at that point I started to think, okay, blocking wire, sock blockers, I can order that stuff online. So I nixed that. And getting this gradient set kind of put me over my budget to where I didn't have, and I wasn't really sold on anything really yet for the yoga wrap. That particular pattern, it's a really, really, really long fingering weight wrap. It's like, takes like 4 skeins of fingering weight. But I can't really decide if it's going to look good in a variegated or a tonal. So I need to do some more research on that before I buy that stuff. But overall, I'm very pleased with what I bought. I only went over my budget a little bit. I was in my stretch budget. Let's just say the last week it's been a little tight around here. But it's been, it was cool, and sorry, my computer locked, and there goes my show notes. I definitely got what I wanted, and I had a lot of fun. It was great, so great to finally meet Amber and Maureen in person. I didn't get to see any of the viewers from the podcast. Again, I was only there 4 hours. I was kind of in and out because I really wanted to get back to Houston. But it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. Turns out there's a Houston Fiber Fest that happens in June, so I'm really looking forward to going to that. And it's like 20 minutes from my apartment, so a lot less driving. I'm actually going to try and see if I can't get into some classes on that one, because I think I need somebody to teach me how to drop spin, so I really hope that they have a class for that. But overall, it was a great experience. I'm really glad I went. Amber had mentioned she found it kind of underwhelming after, I guess, Stitches Texas last year was a lot bigger. But for me, it was still overwhelming. Still, I felt like there was plenty of selection. There was one skein of yarn that was like $200 for the skein. I don't even remember what it was made of. Said something like it must be made of like angel farts or something like that. It was ridiculous. It felt amazing, but I cannot imagine any kind of project that would cost me that much. I wouldn't even want to take it with me. I would put it in a safe when I wasn't working on it. I can't even imagine. So there was some great stuff there. Madeline Tosh had a huge booth. Definitely went and petted all their stuff. Webs was there. I mean, there was just everything. All kinds of crazy cool bags. I've gotten to develop quite the collection of knitting bags lately, so I did not buy any project bags, but overall, it was a great experience. I'm super happy that I went, and yeah, so that was DFW. Next, let me talk a little bit about some mail I got. Melissa, the Spicy Homemaker, a couple of months ago when we first started talking about doing the knit along together, we also decided that we were going to do a swap. And both of us kind of wanted to put some extra effort in the swap, so we took a long time doing it. She got her stuff about a couple weeks ago, and she showed it off on her last episode, so I'm really glad she liked it. And I got mine, I think it was last week or the week before, I can't remember. But I'm gonna share that with you. The first thing is like, I wanted to cry when I got this out. She got me a project bag made for me that's very specific to me. It's quilted, so it's a whole bunch of different fabrics. You've got like, it's different. I'm looking at this side, it's different. Okay, so up here you've got this great Derby Girls. How awesome is that? This pretty batik, neat little like vintage knitting stuff. On the back, this pretty yarn balls, another Derby Girl, and then a dragonfly, where they embroidered dragonfly. My Derby name. This is so cool. I wanted to cry when I opened this. It was so awesome. It's a nice little handle, good sturdy zipper. I put a little progress keeper that I got, I believe, from Mona, with a little paw on it, so there's that little bit of holly on here. It's huge, lined, big old bottom. My striped study shawl was actually living in here. That's the huge bag. I think that I think my sock yarn blanket might migrate over here, because this bag reminds me of, because it came from Melissa, who's one of the first like good friends that I made in the knitting community. This reminds me of knitting friendship, and that's what the sock yarn blanket's all about. So I think this is going to migrate and be my sock yarn blanket bag soon. But anyway, so that came, and then there was some Pocky sticks, which I already ate, and they were very good, and all kinds of other stuff. I had to leave everything in the box so I wouldn't forget to show you all of it. So we're gonna go through that. Sent me a notebook. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I'm addicted to journals. I buy journals and notebooks like crazy. I don't ever want to write in them because I don't want to make them ugly. But like, I'm on a mission to like actually write in journals. So journals are like a perfect gift for me. And this one, it's just pretty. Got me some pencils. She sent me all the leftover fabric from the bag, which is awesome because, you know, I've been sewing lately, so I can play with that. She sent me some note cards, some washi tape, and this skein that she said she picked up at Rhinebeck, and it's silky socks that rock. It's a 81% superwash merino, 19% silk, and it's a fingering weight, and this is their fall frolic colorway. It's blue moon fiber arts. Isn't this pretty? This is gonna be a fun like rainbow shawl because it's really silky and soft and smushy. This is like Smush-a-Vision. I wish I had it. I wish you could reach through the TV and smush this. But love this. And then she sent me a bunch of minis. I got her signature colorway, La Dolce Vita. Right? Yeah, that's what that is. This is Zia Wool's Fire and Ice, which I'm super excited about. I've been wanting to knit with some Zia Wools because she talks about Dag all the time, and Dag's such a wonderful person. I follow her on Instagram, and she's really interactive and stuff with knitting games, and she's so fun. She didn't know what this was, but it's pretty. This is African Violet from Malabrigo Sock. There's that. And this is, this is her first dyeing. So I got some of her hand dyed too. It's exciting. This one is, this is Andre Sue Knits. This is one of hers. And this is a big old chunky one. This is from the Space Cadets Mini Skein Club that Melissa talks about a lot on hers. And this is, what colorway is this? They just have numbers. But anyway, this is about 20 grams, so this is a big chunky one. It was fun. So, it was super, and I got a little note too, of course. This was just super fun. I loved the knitting community. I love just everything about this. And I wanted to say a little something because I know she comes up a lot on podcasts because, you know, Melissa's such a big part of the knitting community on Ravelry and especially amongst all the different podcasters. But I just have to say a little extra something about Miss Melissa. I was, and I mean I still am pretty much to some extent, a little baby podcaster. Had barely had like 4 episodes or something, and I said, I just put out there, I was like, hey, if you're a podcaster, I want to, I would like to co-host a knit along. And she reached out to me like immediately and was like, hey, I want to co-host a knit along with you. I'm like, oh my god, the spicy homemaker wants to co-host a knit along with me. I got so super excited. And as we started to plan it, of course I was like, duh, that's awesome. Of course I want to. It's just, we started to plan it, and, messaging back and forth, and then finally, like, we got to the point where we're like, okay, we just talk on the phone. Girl, we were on the phone for like 2 hours, and I just had so much fun talking to her, and every other time since, like, we'll randomly text or call, and she's just so, so, so sweet. And just everything that she does to reach out, to knitters in general, and then she really tries to make the podcaster community like a network, and really tries to keep us all together. She did organized the Valentine podcaster swap. She's very active in other people's groups, always commenting. She really reaches out, and she's genuinely the sweetest person ever. And I just have to say an extra special hug to Melissa. Thank you so much for everything you do. You're so welcoming and so kind, and because you listen to me gripe, and thank you so much for everything. Super appreciate it. And for some weird reason, if you watch my podcast but you've never watched The Spicy Homemaker, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Pause me right now, go watch her. She's amazing. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to get too gushy here, because that's not really me, but I just gotta say, I heart you, Melissa. Moving on, after that little gushy love fest, I wanted to talk a little bit about the stash. I was watching Grocery Girls. I've been watching, it's taken me the last like 2 days to get through the last episode because I haven't had a lot of sit down in front of podcast time. But I was finishing them up this morning, and they're talking about, when you go in your stash and you find that one skein of yarn and you fall in love with it all over again. That, you bought it for a reason, you fell in love with it in the yarn store, you had to have it, and then you take it home and for some reason you haven't knit with it yet, and you go in your stash and you find it, you fall in love with it all over again. I have definitely acquired quite the wool stash, especially for somebody that's only been knitting about 1.5 years. I actually went in late last weekend and reorganized my stash, which I organized like right before Christmas. But I had to do it again because as I've bought things lately, it's kind of started to overfill bins. Like I had to sort my fingering weight into yarn for socks, yarn for shawls, yarn for socks, yarn for other. But anyway, so I'm going through, I'm like, oh my god, I totally forgot about this one. Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, these would look so cute together. And it just really started to dawn on me. I mean, I'm very aware of how much yarn I have, but it really started to dawn on me that like, I spent good money and good love on this yarn when I bought it. And I need to show it the love to put it in a finished object. I've talked about yarn diets before, and I always put myself on one, and I'm definitely on one right now because I just came back from DFW. And I don't want to buy anything before Houston Fire Fest, but, I've talked about the yarn diets before, but I'm going to approach it a little bit of a different way. I am loving my stash. I'm showing some love to my stash. I loved it once when I bought it, and then I've tucked it away in, my little plastic containers where everything's stored. I want to go back in and love it again. So that is my approach right now. I have got, tons of different things on the needles, but I'm really trying to work through my works in progress at this point. I want to finish everything that I've got on the needles and kind of start fresh and just really, okay, I want to start this project. I'm going to go into my stash and pick it up instead of being like, oh, but that might look better in this color. I'm going to go to the yarn store. I'm going to try and stay away from the yarn store. Just really love what I've got and use what I've got. Not be so wasteful when it comes to my stash. And every yarn hoarder, every yarn person has a stash. Every knitting person or every crochet person has a stash of yarn. But I love my stash. And I need to show it the love of getting put into a final object. So that's my goal and that's my plan. And I'm not going to do like the 50 points for Gryffindor or anything else like that, but loving my stash. So that's all the nitty stuff I have for you. I'm going to kind of move on to the section I'm calling life outside of knitting. So if you're not interested in how I exist in the world outside of my fiber obsession, then feel free to tune out, and I'll talk to you again in a couple weeks. Before I was a knitter, I was a voracious reader, and I always have been. I learned to read. My mom was a kindergarten 3rd grade teacher when I was growing up, so I went into kindergarten already knowing how to read. I was reading, big chapter books back when, most of my classmates were seeing Spot Run. So I've always been a big reader, and I just love it. We used to joke, my family would joke, whenever I got my driver's license, they were like, Brittany's not going to know how to get around anywhere because every time she gets in the car, her nose is in a book. And true enough, I used to get lost like crazy. And the town I grew up in was teeny, so I can't believe I got lost there, whatever. But anyway, I love to read. I've really, as I've been, relocating and stuff the last year or so, I've really culled down my book stash. Sold a lot of stuff down at half-price books, donated books, given them away. I've really culled down my book stash, but, I have a lot on my Kindle. I'm a big reader, but reading takes hands and concentration. And my current obsession is knitting, which also takes hands and concentration. So I don't really read as much as I used to. The last couple of weeks, I got onto a bit of a documentary kick about the civil rights movement a couple of weeks ago. When I was coming back from Vegas, I watched the movie Selma and just really got into it and was watching all these civil rights documentaries. So I started reading again. It's called Warriors Don't Cry, about the integration of Little Rock High School or the integration of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. So anyway, I read that and tore through that in 2 days. And then I've been reading, one of my favorite, it's not even chick lit, she's more just memoir writers. I'm reading one of her books. Well, today I decided I went to Barnes & Noble earlier today, and I decided to combine my love of reading and my love of knitting, and I picked up this book, and it's by the Yarn Harlot. I don't know why I've never read any of her stuff before, but it's called Free Range Knitter. Now, when I say I'm a voracious reader, I bought this today. I am already that far in. This is great. This is funny. If you've never read it, do it. It's hilarious. But I'm really trying to read more. I feel like I've lost something in me because I haven't been reading, so I'm definitely going to be reading more. Can I catch you up on Derby? I started with a new league about 3 weeks ago. I'm, stuck at level 1s, which stinks because I'm back to the basics, but I'm embracing that and really polishing my fundamentals, which is awesome. So I had to take another pause there because my card ran out of memory. So I'm not quite positive where I left off. So I think I was talking about Derby. Oh yeah, I was. So I started with the new league, and I'm stuck at level 1s, which kind of sucks, but it's really giving me the opportunity to polish up on my fundamentals and really excel. So kind of grateful for that, and I'm really, really enjoying it there. The structure is fantastic for me. And I'm down to 1 day a week practicing, which is nice, so I get a little bit of my time back. But yeah, so I got that going on. And while I was pausing, I totally realized that I forgot to show y'all one other thing from Melissa, and I feel terrible about that, so I went and grabbed it off my fridge. She sent me this dragonfly magnet, which she actually hand-painted herself. Isn't this pretty? In case you haven't picked up on it, I have a thing for dragonflies. I've got one tattooed on my wrist, I've got one tattooed on my back, I've got dragonflies everywhere. I have a thing for dragonflies, so this was awesome. But yeah, the other thing I did last weekend was I got to meet up with Holly, who is a viewer of the podcast and a very active member of our Ravelry group. It's Holly. Her Ravel name is AASD Mom, and she lives on the north side of Houston. So that's actually where I spend quite a bit of my time here lately. And it was just, we figured out where she lived, and I was like, dude, let's totally meet up on Sunday. Originally, I was going to have Holly, my little girl, with me, but was being kind of funny right now. But I left her with my friend and went and met up with Holly and her daughter, and we just sat at Starbucks drinking coffee and knitting and talking, and she's so much fun and so nice to be around and super bubbly, and it's a lot of fun. I had a great time. And we are talking about sometime in the future, the very near future, Holly coming on and co-hosting an episode or two with me. So that might be something awesome to look forward to. So be on the lookout for that. And also in that vein, and this will probably end up waiting until closer to the Houston Fiber Festival, but I really am enjoying getting to meet people that I've met online through Ravelry, like in person. So Houston area watchers, look forward to Fiberfest. We're probably going to come up with some sort of meetup revolving around Houston Fiberfest. So just be on the lookout for that, and I'll talk about it more as it gets closer. That is pretty much all I have today. This episode ended up taking me like 2 hours to record with all the pauses and everything, but I'll go ahead and leave it at that and catch up with you again in a couple of weeks. Again, I flashed it earlier where you can find me on the internet. Make sure and check out our Ravelry group and join in on the knitting games. It's been a lot of fun. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Everybody have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye.